What is good, everybody? The fantasy basketball season is right around the corner. Today, I'm going over my top 25 player rankings. Today, I'm going to focus on points leagues. Make your adjustments with the settings inside of your given leagues. But this should be a great baseline to get us started in our 2025 player rankings. Let's start at the top. The best player in fantasy basketball, Nikola Jokic. 30 points, 12 rebounds, 10 assists, great percentages. Not much to say here. He's a top dog across all formats. While Jokic stands alone in the S tier, the next four guys, I believe, you can put them in pretty much whatever order you want. But for me, it's going to be Shai Gilgeous-Alexander at number 2, Giannis at 3, Wemby, followed by Luka. You can't really go wrong with any of these players. Shai and the Thunder obviously coming off of that championship run. I believe he gives you the least liability injury-wise. That's why he's at the top of this tier for me. Giannis, an Iron Man himself, pretty much. I could see an argument to be made moving Luka Doncic up a little bit in this tier, given the fact that LeBron James is going to start the season out for at least 3 to 4 weeks. We don't know exactly how long at the moment, but Luka supposedly in much better shape this season for the Lakers. They're going to rely heavily on him. When it comes to these top 5 guys, you really can't go wrong in any order once you get through Jokic at number 1 overall. My 6th player off the board, Cade Cunningham for the Detroit Pistons. This guy's improved each and every year of his young career in the NBA. Last year, his numbers were right around 26 points, 9 assists, and 6 rebounds. Not only that, he shoots 85% from the floor and gives you 2 3-pointers made again. If he's increasing his numbers again this upcoming season, I have no problem at taking him in the middle of the first round. He's a great opportunity to establish himself as a superstar this upcoming season. An already established superstar, Anthony Davis for the Dallas Mavericks, getting up there in age, a guy that relies so heavily on his athleticism and has a supreme injury concern. But in Dallas with Kyrie Irving going to miss a majority of the season, this team's going to rely heavily on Anthony Davis until Cooper Flag can get acquainted in the NBA. When he's on the court, he's going to be a borderline top 5 player. It's just how long will he sustain his health in 2025? Trae Young would be my 8th player off the board. Young and this Hawks team might have the best supporting cast he's ever had in Atlanta. They bring in Kristaps Porzingis, Jalen Johnson coming back from injury, and Dyson Daniels, an emerging star in this league on the defensive side of the ball. Trae Young, we obviously know what he can do in a points league, where he's averaging 24 points, over 11 assists a game, and nearly 3 threes a game. If your league does not account for missed field goals, Trae Young is a very good pick in the late first round. Obviously, deduct some points if your league does have scoring for missed attempts, because only shooting a little bit over 40% does hurt his fantasy basketball stock, so that you just have to monitor with your league settings. Devin Booker will be my next player. This Suns team shipped everyone out of Phoenix. Kevin Durant gone to Houston. Bradley Beal gone. I expect Devin Booker to pick up the slack where those guys left. Last year, he averaged 25 points a game. This year, I expect that to bump up closer to 27 to 28 points per game. And we already know this guy can distribute the basketball at 7 assists a game. I think Devin Booker takes another step in his game to pick up where Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal left off in Phoenix. To round out my top 10, I have Anthony Edwards for the Timberwolves. A little disappointing season last year in fantasy. Finished outside the top 10 in fantasy basketball points leagues. For a guy averaging 27 points, we need his assist numbers to climb slightly for him to provide value in fantasy. I expect that to do that. Edwards entering the prime of his career, I expect him to be a little bit more polished this upcoming season. I think he's still a great pick in fantasy in the late first round. I don't want to be taking him over guys like Cade Cunningham and Anthony Davis. If you're going to get him in the late first, I would be all about taking Anthony Edwards. Maybe one of the safest players in points league, Domantas Sabonis for the Sacramento Kings. He's going to give you a double-double every single night he's on the floor. Very consistent player. Category leagues, we want to be bumping him down. But in your points leagues, you can feel safe taking him at the end of your first round, knowing you're going to get just under 20 points a night to go along with 13-plus rebounds, one of the best rebounders in the entire league. This guy could shoot free throws. He would be much more valuable in fantasy, but just over 70%, not going to get it done. However, the guy's going to shoot just under 60% from the floor, so maybe he does have some added value to offset those free throw issues. My next player, Karl-Anthony Towns for the New York Knicks. Unbelievable year in his first season in New York. If you're going to tell me he was going to average the same numbers he had last year, this guy would be much higher in these rankings. He averaged nearly 13 rebounds a night last season. I expect that number to decline with Mitchell Robinson coming back to play the center position. I think those two playing alongside each other, Robinson's going to have edge on the boards. While I still think Karl-Anthony Towns is a great pick in fantasy, I do want to slightly lower my expectations given that we should have some added health in the front court for the Knicks this year. James Harden at 36 years old is my next player. We do have to assume there's going to be some regression just due to his age as he continues to get older. This guy's not LeBron James, unfortunately. So while the numbers are impressive for Harden, I do expect a slight tick down each and every year going forward. Paolo Banchero is my next player. I'm higher on Banchero than most people. I think this guy's on one of the best teams in the NBA, the Orlando Magic, an ascending roster. Let's not forget, Paolo Banchero was dropping 50 points before an early season injury in 2024. I think he's going to continue that ascension this upcoming season. Last year he was averaging 25 points a game. We can see that increase this year. This guy's going to be a superstar in the NBA. I will take him in the second round every opportunity I can get. My 15th player off the board, Ja Morant. Look, there's no concern with Ja Morant on the basketball court itself. It's all about the injuries and the off-the-court issues. If this guy's going to be healthy and locked into basketball, he's a guy we need to have on our fantasy basketball teams at the price that you're going to be able to draft him at. This guy was a near MVP candidate at one point. No Desmond Bane in Memphis. I expect Ja Morant to get back to his normal self, averaging 26 points a game, 8 assists, and over 5 rebounds. I think Ja Morant, the guy stays healthy, he's going to produce in fantasy basketball. It's a very similar story with LaMelo Ball. This guy pretty much injured every year of his career at this point. I'm still willing to roll the dice on LaMelo given how productive he is when he actually plays. We saw Steph Curry handle a number of ankle issues early in his career and be able to bounce back and stay healthy. If LaMelo Ball can have the same trajectory as Steph Curry from a health perspective, I think LaMelo Ball is going to provide significant value this year. From an offensive perspective, not many holes in his game. The guy's giving you almost 4 3-pointers a game, over a steal per game, 26 points, 8 assists, and he gives you 5 rebounds. Some good free throw numbers. Like Trae Young, if you're going to be knocked for missed field goal attempts, you have to consider that when drafting LaMelo Ball. 40% from the floor. That is abysmal. Donovan Mitchell and Tyrese Maxey will be my next 2 players. 2 guards that are just going to be very consistent for you this year. Maxey, if Joel Embiid is going to continue to have health issues, this guy could continue his dominance in the NBA. Let's hope both these guys can stay healthy this year. By Tyrese Maxey, I don't have many question marks with him. Next couple of players I have here, Şengün, Curry, Siakam, Brunson, and Kevin Durant. This Houston Rockets team, now with Şengün and Kevin Durant, I expect both of these guys to have very solid fantasy value, especially with Fred VanVleet missing the entire regular season. Curry, similar to James Harden, I expect these guys' numbers to slightly decrease each and every year of their career going forward. With Pascal Siakam, no Tyrese Haliburton this upcoming season. Late injury for Haliburton. Very unfortunate news for an up-and-coming star. I expect Pascal Siakam to be relied upon heavily for this Pacers team if they're going to get anywhere near the Eastern Conference Finals. And Jalen Brunson for the New York Knicks, another guy you just know what you're going to get. He's going to run that Knicks offense and will produce in fantasy basketball. To round out my top 25, I have Zion Williamson and Jalen Johnson, 2 guys that were on a mission last year before their injuries. Zion Williamson going to handle a heavy burden in New Orleans with Brandon Ingram being traded to Toronto and DeJounte Murray missing the first half of the regular season. We could have point Zion this year. He's looking skinny according to all reports. If he stays healthy, on a points per game basis, he's going to be a top 15 player. So drafting him at the end of the second round after pick 20, I think you're getting a good value on a per game basis. It's just a matter of how long he can stay healthy. And Jalen Johnson seems to be one of the best young stars in the game today. Coming back from injury, I expect him to pick up right where he left off, 20 points, 10 rebounds alongside Trae Young. They do bring in Kristaps Porzingis, but I don't expect that to have a huge concern on Jalen Johnson's fantasy value. That's going to be my top 25 player rankings for 2025-2026. I will do a category rankings video if this video gets 50 likes. Let me know in the comment section if you want to see category rankings. Hit that like button and subscribe if you want to see more fantasy basketball content. Let me know who I missed in this video, who I am way too high on in my 2025 player rankings. Let me know in the comment section. But thank you guys for watching. We'll see you guys next week with another episode of the Fantasy Birds.